So if you look at a real world context, if it's very confusing, right? You only pick up the relevant algebra. So in this case, right, I will pick out the capital letter C. Capital letter C is directly proportional to D. So C and D will be the one that we are looking at. So C and D are the one that are directly proportional. So you set up the direct proportion. So like how you have been trying to do just now. So it's just that just now you're dealing with X and Y. Now you're dealing with capital letter C and the small letter D. So while you set up, right, you must remember this represent the cost and this represent the distance. So it will be the same setup, just with a different algebra. And the algebra will can be given in the question, or it might not be given. So whatever is it, right, they will still give you an information to find K. So they will give you an information to find the value of K. So just don't be confused by the amount of words. So there's a lot of words. It can be super lengthy. They can talk about planet. They can talk about molecule. They can talk about cells. So it doesn't matter. So whatever is it, look at the important algebra for the setup. You are still going to write the statement. So even though it looks a bit confusing, you pick out the correct algebra, or rather the important algebra, and you put in the relevant values that they give you. So you put in the relevant value that they gave you so that you can find your K. So the reason why I got you to do page 6 and 7, it is meant for you to recap the steps. So in the real world context, it's exactly the same steps, but some of you might get confused because of the lengthy format. So again, remember to return it. So a lot of you may forget to return. So if you return it, that will be the main equation that you are working with. So when you return, right, don't forget, this is the cost. The amount of money is dependent on the distance. So this is a formula that connects the cost and the distance. So we are going to be using this to answer the subsequent question. So the subsequent question is asking you, what is the cost for transporting 45 kilometers? So they are asking you, when the distance is 45, how much money will you be spending? So interpret the 45 as distance. So if you couldn't interpret the 45 as distance, that's where you get stuck. So the 45 they are talking about is the distance. So same here, you put into the formula. So you put into the formula and you punch calculator. So the cost is $75. So don't be put off because it's a very lengthy question. The procedure is very much the same. When you pick out the important algebra. So that also helps us in the last part. So in the last part, right, you are asked to find the distance if somebody pay 120. So what is that 120? That 120 is the capital letter C. So it's a bit of English and it's a bit of comprehension. Kyla, you move on first. Let me check after I'm done with this part. Okay, later I check, Kyla. Okay, so for this last part, right, we are asked to find the distance. So the comprehension. So the capital letter C. So capital letter C is 120. You're supposed to find the distance. So it's just basic algebra to get back to your distance. So when they pay $120, that means they transport the goods for 72 kilometers.